scared of doing podcasts. Like obviously I've done YouTube for a really, really long time, but I feel like I was so nervous doing podcasts because I was on so much medication at one point, and it was making me like I couldn't say a sentence. I couldn't think of, what I was trying to say. I was literally having cognitive decline. And now researching after what I've been through, I realized that that's what was happening. And the medication that I was on, was like seizure medication, migraine medication, antipsychotics. I was also on like a PTSD medication. It's all this stuff was like too much, I think, for my body, and everybody's different. I never want to like dismiss the help that mental health medications have for people at all. It's just that in my experience, I was literally like a zombie. It was affecting all of my relationships. It's just, I'm actually coming out with a video this weekend, just kind of going over that. And just, I like also posted old videos of me from YouTube of like when I was really heavily medicated. And I swear I'm not even the same person. Like, it is insane. It is insane. So like I was saying earlier, like following your intuition was something that I learned because I was like really questioning whether I wanted to get off of it. And I was like, what do I do here? And then my intuition was just telling me, get off your meds and see what happens. You can always go back on them. So, and then that literally catapulted me into like a huge spiritual awakening, a huge like shift in my whole entire life, my business. Like, there's so much change going on, but it's really good change. And I wouldn't have done that or gone through that if I didn't, like follow my intuition with getting off my meds. So
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So how was, do
Crazy.
you want to talk about your journey? Like, how
Yeah,
did that
of course.
happen?
Yeah. So originally I was diagnosed with BPD in 2017. And during that time, that year, about a year and a half, I was like very, very depressed. I was in bed. They took me out of work. At that time, I was a registered dental assistant for like 5 or 6 years. And I literally could not function. I was so depressed. I was self-harming. There was just like a lot of trauma that I had been through that I didn't deal with. And so it literally hit me all at once. So I was like trying to deal with that. I did EMDR therapy for a year and a half. And thank God for that, because I swear it saved my life. Like like seriously, it was amazing. And then, so they put me on all these medications trying to help like my mood. And, I was having, like hallucinations that I thought were hallucinations. And it was just, it was overwhelming. So of course, the first thing that they did was they were like, we're going to prescribe you all of these medications. And I've literally gone through at least 40 to 50 medications of like trying something new. And like, because I'm like, oh, this isn't working. So a new cocktail, and sometimes, I don't know your experience with medication, but sometimes like trying to like narrow down what you need, you take so many, it's like Russian roulette, like, oh, try this one, try this one, so it was a lot. I was taking up to 9 pills a day, and yeah, of just like all these different medications. And that's between like I had like 2 mood stabilizers, an antipsychotic, and then my nightmare PTSD medication as well. And it was just like so much. So then in 2021, my partner and I helped his parents retire in Arizona, and I was like down bad, so depressed because I felt like my world was ending. And still on these medications. I was like drinking every night to get drunk, and I was just like not doing well, resorting to like alcohol and drugs is never good, obviously, especially like for my experience with BPD, I just can't drink. Like, I've just decided I don't drink because I always like triggers an episode, you know what I mean? And I'm
Yep.
like, why do I do this to myself? So, I was drinking a lot, and I was still on my medications, which you're not supposed to be doing. And then my partner and I decided that we wanted to do like a van life trip where we travel around the country in our van. Yeah. And that was so fun. But as we were going out, I just kept telling him, like, I really feel like I need to get off my medications. Like, I feel like I can't have a conversation with people. Like, I'm not even joking. I would like start a conversation, like start a sentence, and then lose my train of thought. And then I would be trying to think of that thought as I'm, saying the sentence, but it's like not coming out right. You know what I mean? It was like very, it was so bad. Like it was like it was on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't communicate it,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then for a little while I was working at like a European wax center, and we had these scripts that we'd have to talk to our new clients about. And so I had memorized a script. I'd worked there for like 3 years, and I couldn't remember what I was saying, but like I said it every day. So there shouldn't have been, me not knowing what was going on. And I just felt so dumb. Like seriously, I felt so dumb. I felt like I couldn't contribute to a conversation. Like my partner and I would be talking, and then he would like be like, it seems like you're on autopilot. Like it seems like you're not here, And that's like the best way to describe it is like autopilot. Like I'm here, but I'm like not. Um, so then this was May of 2022. Yeah, May of 2022. And then so we had gone to LA like to start our trajectory of the van life series. And I was talking to my friends and I was like, I think I want to get off my medication. Like, all of these reasons, I feel like not confident in the way I talk, or the way I am. Like, so they were like really encouraging me, and they're like, of course, do it the proper way, like talk to your psychiatrist and like see what she thinks. And so I was like, yes, I'm going to do that. So then that week I called my psychiatrist and I was like, hey, I really want to work towards getting off my medication, like weaning off. Like I want to try that and see what happens. And she was all for it. She was like, I think, at this point you have taken so much that you're like not here basically. Like it was, I really can't wait. I want you to watch the video that's going up tomorrow, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, such a difference, such a difference. It's insane. So then I just started weaning off all my medications, and then I was completely off my medications by, this was May, June, July, the end of July. I was completely off of everything. And of course with that, you have like, kind of withdrawals, and you're like dealing with that. And like, so yeah, that's basically the gist of this story. But I have been completely different ever since. And I realized that like, for other people, I feel like medications obviously help. But for me, it was like, you know, downing myself, if that makes sense. Like it was like masking my emotions, which typically, medication is supposed to like mask your emotions and like, but for me, I just like felt so numb. And I like getting off my medications like triggered this complete spiritual awakening in me, where I was like, I found my passion for living again. I found my spirituality again. And, all of these things, like it improved my relationship with my partner and my friends and my family. And like my partner and I, our relationship was not doing super great because I was like, woe is me kind of victim mentality with this kind of stuff. And it was just, I had to get out of that. So I'm so grateful that like I was able to do that. But, for me, it was overwhelming. You know what I mean? It was not working out. So yeah, so that's basically the story.
And getting off it, like
Uh-huh.
withdrawal effects. Did you have
Mhm.
any withdrawal effects?
Not now. In the beginning, yeah, I was just like, like when you stop taking a medication, you're like kind of groggy and kind of grumpy, and like you'll have more mood swings, and you feel all these emotions. So there was that, and then I also got off my birth control as well in August. So I got off my medications in May, like officially July was like the end of it, and then in August I got off all my hormone birth control. So that was also something that, all these hormones are coming back. I'm starting to get my period regularly again, and it's just like it was a lot of change, you know. But I don't regret it at all. It was the best decision I've ever made for myself. It was insane, absolutely insane.
And did you take like a DBT or CBT or something? Like, how did you deal with the emotions, or was it purely spiritual? Like, how?
Yeah, I would say I have gotten pretty good with like my coping skills. And I during that time it was kind of hard for me to keep up with therapy and my psychiatrist appointments, like I would talk to my psychiatrist because she would like talk to me about my medication and stuff like that and getting off of it. But as far as like therapy, I didn't really have therapy during that time. And I don't know why. I think it was just because we were traveling so much and then we would go to like national parks and then we wouldn't have service and stuff. So I would always like reschedule. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's up with that, but I did fine, you know, and just like dealing with those emotions when they come up, and my biggest thing is like surrendering to those emotions instead of like trying to be like, oh no, like I shouldn't be feeling, you know, mad or, you know, having this mood swing. It's like, okay, I am having this mood swing, I need to surrender to it. And what do I need in this moment to soothe myself? What coping skills can I use, you know? And it's just like practicing on having that reminder in yourself, because you know, so, I mean, you know, like when you get a mood swing or you get like really angry in the moment, it's like so hard to, you know, think of like outside forces or whatever during that moment. So it is like, it was such a big practice for me to be like, okay, stop. What do I need right now? What does my body need? Do I need water? Do I need a snack? Do I need lunch? You know, do I need to put my headphones in and go for a walk? Do I need to lay down? You know, do I need to take a nap? Do I need to communicate, like talk about what I'm going through with my partner? So like all those things of like, what do I need right now that can help me get through this mood swing? So that was really beneficial for me.
I love it. I love it.
Yay.
And do you want to talk? I don't know if you want to talk about it, but
Yeah.
you said that when you were on medication, you developed an
Mhm.
eating disorder.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I totally forgot about that. But yes, so 2020, so I was on Topamax. I don't know if you're familiar with Topamax, but it is a seizure medication. And so I was on that for about 4 years almost. And then so I believe I started taking it in 2019, 2018, 2019. And then by 2020, I was in full blown eating disorder. I don't really talk about this on my channel because during that time I was like sickly skinny, and I had multiple people and followers and friends like check in on me. You know, of course, I had like really mean comments as well on my YouTube channel, like accusing me of like glorifying eating disorders and stuff like that. But I never talked about it because I was so in denial. I was like, I don't have an eating disorder. Like, I'm just skinny, you know, like I just lost weight, which I've never been that skinny in my entire life. Like, growing up, I was never like super skinny. And so it was kind of an exciting feeling for me because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so skinny. And I didn't even go to the gym. Like, I just was like, given this, you know, and I didn't even have to work for it, but like I didn't realize that that was such a toxic way of thinking, and that, you know, I was in a full blown complete eating disorder. And the craziest thing about this is that my doctors never brought this up. Like, I would go into the psychiatrist every week and get weighed. Like, they would weigh me there, and they never said anything. Like, they watched me drop. I don't want to say specific numbers because I don't want to trigger anyone, but I literally dropped 40 pounds in months. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't realize it, you know, and then so my friends lightly brought it up to me because I was very defensive about it. I was like, no, I don't have an eating disorder. Like, I was very combative about that. So my friends started bringing it up, and I was like, okay, like maybe there is something going on. And Topamax, like, it suppresses your appetite. So basically, like, I would just not be hungry. Like, I would get like, you know, like a burger, and I would eat like 4 bites of the burger, if that, and then I'd be like, I'm full. And then, you know, I didn't realize that that was so bad. And then my boyfriend also, he, you know, would he say like, I think you need to get help for this, like, you know, and then I was super defensive about it. But he, you know, is into fitness. He's a fitness coach. And so, like, he knows a lot about nutrition and stuff like that. So he would be like, you're not getting, you know, what you need. You're not taking your vitamins. You're not like getting, you know, like all the nutrients that you need, you're not getting. And so it took me a while to understand what was going on. But finally, in about 2021 22, the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, I, realized, okay, like I need to like really work on, gaining my weight back and being healthy. Like I would get so weak all the time. Um, and it was just so interesting because like I didn't intend for it to happen. It wasn't like an intentional thing. But then like, once you get started, it's like being so skinny, it's kind of like an addiction, it's like, oh, you get this like euphoria, I guess, for not, you know, um yeah, so that was like a big thing that I had to like work through. And then eventually I started, 2022, I like really started gaining my weight back, which I was so stoked about. So yeah, like I'm really focusing on like my nutrients and like taking all my vitamins and stuff. And because I'm vegan, I have to really make sure I'm getting all my vitamins because I can be deficient in like B12 or D3 or whatever. So I'm very, very focused on that. But yeah, that it was a very big journey of like realizing, like coming to the like realization that, oh, there is something wrong here, because I was so in denial. And I was like, you're wrong. I would be very defensive. It was, yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. But one theme I see across
Hmm.
the board is that your relationships, you got friends, you got a supporting
Hmm.
partner. How
Yeah.
do you do that?
Hmm.
Do you have any struggle like with BPD and relationships? It could be hell.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
yes. Hmm.
how do you maintain that?
Yeah, so I grew up, I've had a really rocky childhood, and at times I would be like, I have no one. I have no one. And I really struggled with feeling very lonely as a child. And I had my sisters and I had brothers as well, but it was like a very lonely childhood. So I would be in bed crying to sleep every night, but I would have my headphones in listening to Fall Out Boy, and I was like 11 or something, and I'd be like, I'm manifesting. I didn't know I was manifesting at the time. I didn't know what that was, but I was like, I'm going to have a beautiful relationship with, my partner, whoever that may be, and then I'm going to have like chosen family, best friends, sisterhood, like beautiful community. And I like manifested it. I would say it every single night. And I don't want to like get woo woo here, but I really think that that really, catapulted me in maintaining really good relationships, because I dealing with BPD, it's so hard, and I think with my friendships, I really, really nurture those friendships, and I like go out of my way, like if I see something you'll like, I'm gonna buy it and then send it to you. I'm just like gifts are my love language. I really try to make people feel loved. And of course I have rocky relationships for sure. My whole family, most of my family I don't speak to. And that is really where my BPD kind of comes in, where I've like sabotaged a lot of my family relationships. And I'm really, really lucky now that I have a relationship with my mom, and we didn't have one for a really long time. So I'm really grateful for that. But it's just like this past year and a half, I've just really focused on, okay, if I was at fault in a relationship, like I need to take accountability and responsibility and apologize. And also with like my partner or with any of my friends, if like we get into an argument or I like have a mood swing, like snap on my partner, I'm going to apologize, and take accountability for that. Because it's like it's not their fault that I'm having, this mood swing. And at the same time, I don't feel like it's my fault either, because it's just like I literally explained to my partner, I'm like, I can't control it. Like it just comes out. Like I literally like physically cannot control myself sometimes. Like, and like so if I feel that way and something comes out and I'm like snap or whatever, I just make sure to make a conscious effort to apologize, whether that be in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever, if it's even a text. Like sometimes it's hard to do that, but just focusing on taking accountability when I'm in the wrong. And I think that's really helped my relationships, especially with my partner, because I think he kind of gets the brunt of it, like not many people see, the BPD side of me at times. And of course relationships are very, very difficult. And I have a favorite person. I have two favorite people actually, which is great. So my partner is my favorite person. I know, it's crazy. So my partner is my favorite person, and then one of my best friends is as well. And with my best friend, we've had numerous fights because I have felt like I'm not getting enough out of our relationship. Like I feel like I'm putting in a lot, but I'm not receiving. And that was, a while ago. We're actually like on really, really good terms right now, and like we're killing it, but sometimes like when you have a favorite person and you're so attached, you feel like you're doing so much and you're not getting it received back. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's also something that's so difficult because it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, am I not good enough? And I have this like major trauma wound of not being good enough because I don't have, a relationship with some of my family members, like my dad. And so that like really plays in to my relationships. And I have to really focus on like healing that wound and that inner child so I don't bring that up in my current relationships. It's a struggle, it's a process. Like I by no means am saying that I, have figured that out yet because it still comes up quite a bit. But yeah, I guess it's just like recognizing those patterns and trying to break them. So, but yeah, relationships are not easy with BPD at all.
Not at all.
Especially, I have most of my best friends have BPD as well. So it's, yeah, like um, 3 or 4 of them, I think, have BPD. Yeah. And the way, like, I've you would think that it would be a lot more toxic than it is, but I feel so much love for them. I have so much love for them, so it's just like communication is a huge thing as well. If I'm upset about something, I will go to them and be like, "Hey, I didn't like this." And in a calm way after I've cooled off, obviously, because you don't ever want to blow up on someone. But, and then same with them. If something's if they're upset about something, they come to me and like, hey, I didn't like how you did this. And then sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, but then we have to be like, okay, I validate your experience and I understand that this is why you're feeling like this. What can I do to make you feel safe or better in this situation? Yeah. So it's just like stuff like that
Oh,
it's like, you know, recognizing, I think, is a huge thing here. Like, what can I do to make you feel safe now? Like, do you need space? Do you need like a couple week break, from talking to me? It's just little things to break that pattern.
wow. That is so cool because, I mean, for
Hmm.
me, with my friends,
Hmm.
I always have to try to explain to them what it's like to have BPD. And I send them
Mm,
articles and I try to, explain it in the best way
yeah.
possible, which I'm not sure comes across correctly.
Right.
Um, and so if you have friends that have BPD, I see
Mhm.
one pro is at least they
Mhm.
understand the language, they understand the symptoms, they could understand what you're going through versus say someone without, like some of my friends without BPD, it's like, why are you getting so upset about this, or why are you getting so worked up about this? For them
Mhm.
it would look like nothing, but for
Yeah.
me it's like my world's just coming apart.
Yeah, exactly. It's like your world is ending and people don't understand that. You know what I
They
mean? And
don't.
sometimes I have to remind my partner of that too. I'm like, I'm splitting on you. I'm completely splitting on you. I need this, whatever. But it's like sometimes even when people know, they don't realize. So it's like I hate having to remind people because I don't want to use that as an excuse to why I'm being, whatever. But it is a very big reason. So I completely understand that. And in the beginning of my relationship with my partner, I got diagnosed when we were together. So that was a lot easier, I think, than most people going through, a diagnosis alone and then like trying to date a new person and telling them that you have BPD. Like that is like a whole another thing that you have to deal with when you have BPD because the stigma is so strong. So luckily I was already with my partner, but I would have to, send him articles and I'm lucky. I'm very lucky he was very receptive of that. And I'm very grateful. But yeah, even like my mom and my family, like I love them to death, but they don't get it sometimes. And I'm like reminding them like, oh yeah, I have borderline personality disorder, and I think like my stepdad, for example, he forgets too. And I'm like, the reason why I'm so worked up about whatever the situation is because of this. And then I have to explain, and I'm like, but it's like some people forget and they're like, why are you acting like that? And it's like, well, bro, I'm struggling with this.
Yeah. So you'd say that spirituality was the thing that's like literally keeping you.
Yeah, I would say so. I really struggled with religion growing up. I like I I grew up with a parent that was an addict, and they would do whatever they did during the week, and then on Sunday they'd be like, let's go to church,
Mhm.
and then I'd be like, why? Like, you did all this naughty stuff basically, and then now you're going to church to ask for forgiveness, but then you're going to continue to do the naughty stuff, right? So for me as an 8-year-old child, I was like, hypocrites, they're all hypocrites, so I really struggled with that for years. And then I had moved in with my dad, and he made us go to Catholic church. I got communion, baptized, confirmation, all that stuff when I was 16. And, I really, really tried to get involved with the church. Like, I taught like the kindergartners, and I literally did everything I could to like overcome that like trauma, I guess. And I went to church for a couple years, then I ended up, I had a lot of drama on my dad's, I got kicked out and like all this stuff. So I stopped going to church, and then like I started having this like resentment towards religion, because I was like, I just thought these people were hypocrites. And I'm also bisexual, pansexual, and I always really struggled with the church and how they handled LGBT, all of it, and I like my people, and I'm just like, I just have this big problem with that. Like, I for religion, that preaches love and stuff, this is not very loving to like have this hate towards a group of people, especially like what's going on with like the trans community and stuff. Like, there's a lot that I really struggle with that. And then so the past couple years, like I had, again, like I said, like the spiritual awakening of like, I don't need to believe in Christianity, for example. But like what I call it is like source, and like I connect to source. And it could be, people say God or whatever, and it can be certain days, so I do have a belief now, which is really, really great, because for so long I had this like resistance of like, it's not, not that it wasn't real, but that like I couldn't connect with it. So like, yeah, I've connected with that, and I've been able to like, I meditate every day, and I've been able to connect to my spirit guides and stuff like that. And like a lot of this is like woo woo stuff, but I've just noticed that connecting to like my higher power, my higher self, I feel a lot more enlightened in that aspect of like, I can see what it is that's up there. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense. So and I've really connected with my intuition, and I am convinced, I know, like, I'm psychic. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like I predict a lot of things all the time. I have like psychic dreams a lot. So that's like a whole different thing that I've been experiencing my whole entire life, actually. But really a lot the past 2 years, because since getting off my medication and stuff, and I connect to spirits a lot, and that's like a whole different thing as well. Like, so just like connecting to myself and my higher self, and like realizing that, the things that I thought were me just being crazy are not crazy. And it's like a lot of like the spiritual world and realm, and like accepting that. So yeah, that's just like a whole different thing of like accepting myself for who I am, and not like resisting it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it very much does.
Mhm, mhm.
Wow, wow, that is amazing, and you're
Thank you.
so beautiful. You're
Thank you
literally
so
like
much. You're so sweet.
radiating.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of
And
course.
for people with BPD who are watching this, do you have
Mhm.
any piece of advice, something that tip?
Yes, I would say I have quite a few, but my biggest thing is I love to write. I have published a few poetry books and stuff. My first one just like being about basically my BPD diagnosis. It can be triggering, so just a heads up for that. But I write everything. I write my journal every single day when I am triggered, when I feel like my world is crumbling, I will write. And that release really, really helps me so much. And I think people like forget that that's an option. But even like as as a child, I like had journals and diaries, and like when I was like mad at my mom, I would just like write everything out. And it's like a cathartic release, you know what I mean? And like it just gets everything out, and no one else is going to read it, you know what I mean? So I don't have to worry about like hurting anybody's feelings, you know what I mean? And so that is like my biggest tip is like just practice. And I know a lot of people are like, I don't know how to like, to journal and stuff. Like, I don't know how, but on my Instagram, I have a highlight of like
Mhm.
journal prompts. So if you guys are interested in that, I have highlights. So every like week, I'll do like a few journal prompts, and like we'll go over, what I did in the prompts, and like what, is really important about that. So yeah, that's just something. So if you don't even know where to start, like find some journal prompts on my Instagram. That will be very helpful as well. Finding a community, I think, is going to be really important, especially if you're first diagnosed with BPD. Like, find influencers like you and myself to, follow, to get educated on, to help you know what I mean, with your journey. Because when I got diagnosed, it was 2017. There was no mental health accounts at all. No mental health accounts, no BPD accounts at all. So that's why I started, um, you know, doing my journey and like sharing my journey with everybody, because I was like, I don't know of any mental health accounts. There's like maybe one or two, but they were like really niche with like eating disorders or, just depression and stuff like that, which is amazing. But I was like, I want to share my BPD journey. Like, how niche is this, And I knew that it could help so many people. So, finding that community where you can be like, oh, you can make friends. Like, on the online space is like so big. Like, you don't even realize how many people in the world have BPD that are online, just like you, that need help. So I think, following your favorite BPD influencers on TikTok, there's a very big community on there. So I really recommend, if you're into TikTok, you can find a couple TikTok influencers. And it's funny because like those kind of videos like are really relatable and really funny. And like the really funny ones, you're like, oh my gosh, like I can laugh at myself, I can make fun of myself, because this is real, so stuff like that. And I have been going through this journey, like I said, from 2017, and I have fought tooth and nail. Like, at certain points I was like, am I gonna make it? Like, what, I was so down in the dumps, like hopeless, helpless, didn't think I was going to make it, like self-harming every day. It was really bad. There was a few times where I should have been hospitalized, but I manipulated my doctor into like letting me just stay at home. Like, I won't lie, like I'm not proud of that, but it is something. And like I see in myself that I can manipulate certain things. So we're working on that. But it's really, really important to remember at the end of the day that help is there, first of all, and recovery is possible. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but like figuring out that there is hope at the end of the tunnel, finding your purpose, finding your passion, finding alignment in yourself, it's so important. And that's why I am going to be starting I'm starting a life coaching business for basically people with BPD. It is not a replacement for therapy or anything like that. It's just like accountability life coaching, where someone with BPD, me, can help you with, if you're triggered about something. It's like, there's around the clock help, basically. When something comes up and you're like, I don't know what to do with this, I'm freaking out, and then I'm there to like help you, so it's stuff like that. Like, you need to find help, and you can't do it alone, whether that's a therapist, a coach, whatever. You cannot do this alone. I've been through countless like therapy, EMDR therapy, DBT, CBT, like all of that stuff. And it's like, I feel like I've cracked the code, basically. I feel like if I were to go back to the doctor like today and be like, diagnose me, I don't think they would diagnose me with BPD at this point, because, of course I still have like some symptoms and mood swings and whatever. But like, I truly, truly feel that I, I don't want to say healed myself, but I feel very good. You know, it's very rare that I'm in an episode. So, you know, that's a very big accomplishment, and I just know that you can get there too. Whoever is watching this, you can get there. It is possible, because I'm telling you, at one point I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but I promise you, it takes work, but you can do it. Like, I swear, if I can do it, you can do it. And sometimes it may feel like it's hopeless, and like you're never gonna like see the sun again. As cheesy as that sounds, but you will. It is possible. You know, so
Thank you so much for this
yeah,
word of advice and
yeah.
encouragement. I really
Yay.
appreciate it. Oh,
Of course.
you're so beautiful, and thanks
Thank
for doing
you.
this.